Good morning and welcome back to morning mobility for seniors. This is 20 to 30 minutes of gentle movement and mobility designed for seniors, but for anybody that wants to feel a little bit loosened up, ready for a workout, or just ready to tackle your day. As always, we'll have 3 circuits of 3 exercises that will repeat twice, and all you need is your body weight, occasionally something to hold on to like a wall or a chair, and a little bit of space on the floor. So we'll go ahead and get started with our first mobility exercise. That's going to be for ankle mobility. It's going to be toe and heel walks. To start, we're going to lift onto your toes and just take small steps forward. Once you cover about a yoga mat distance, we're going to switch and walk on your heels back to where you started. Then we'll alternate between these two, going back to your toes, trying to stay as high and lifted on that toe as you can, and then heels, pulling those toes up, taking small steps. And repeat. Toes should feel some calf engagement as you do these. If it feels like you can't get your heels up very far at first, that's totally okay. It's a sign to do these more often. Great, we'll do one more of each. Toes. Make sure not to go too fast and get carried away with these. And heels. And rest, very good. Alrighty, then going into our second mobility exercise, we're going to do some neck mobility with some ear to shoulder reaches. So first, just imagine you're trying to pull your ear as close to your shoulder as you can, and then do the other side, really thinking about stretching and elongating into that trap. One side, reach, lengthen the other. And reach that ear towards the shoulder, lengthen the other side. Good. Taking your time. Noticing if you feel a stretch in one side more than the other. Really think about pulling that other shoulder down to get a little bit of extra stretch if that feels good. Almost imagining you're holding a cell phone between your shoulder and your ear, that kind of position that helps you bend your neck. Last one, ear to shoulder, and rest, very good. Alrighty, our last one is going to be for shoulder mobility. So this is going to be our field goal rotation press. We're going to start with our arms at 90 degrees and then rotate them down. Rotate back up, straighten the arms, and return to that field goal. Rotate down, rotate up, reach long, and back down. Good. For the rotation part, try not to move your elbows. Just let that rotation come from the shoulder as you pivot and back up. Reaching, trying to straighten the elbows. That's a little bonus mobility. Sometimes, especially with the arms overhead, it can be challenging to get the arms straight, but just try to lengthen your arm as much as you can. And reach up. We'll do one more of these, nice and controlled speed. Rotate up and reach back to field goal. Perfect. Alrighty, that is our first circuit that we'll repeat one more time. So going back to our toe and heel walks, find your position where you have at least 5 or 6 feet to cover. Lift onto your toes and then start taking those steps. You can kind of hold your hands in front of you. You can have your hands at your sides, whatever feels most natural and helps you balance. See if this time you can get even more lift onto your toes and even more of those toes pulling back towards your shins as you walk on your heels. Good. Toes, not too fast. As always with mobility, we don't want to use momentum, but we want to keep things nice and deliberate. We'll do one more there and back, so really think tall thoughts, pulling your head up towards the ceiling. And last one with heels, all the way back. Very good. Alrighty, and then back to our second one, our neck mobility with the side to side, ear to shoulder movement. Start with whichever side and alternate other side. Maybe noticing this time if you can even reach the opposite fingertips down your side to get a little bit of extra stretch. So if my head is going to the right, I reach my left fingertips down. If my head's going to the left, I reach my right fingertips down. That's totally optional. Might feel like plenty of a stretch just to be tilting your head as far as you can, side to side. Taking your time. Reach that ear towards your shoulder. One more for each side. Lengthen the other trap. And last one, reach. And rest. Very good. Alrighty, then back to our third one, that shoulder mobility, field goal rotation press. Nice 90-degree angles. Rotate down, rotate up, reach the arms, and back to that field goal. Rotate and reach. This is a good one to even do in a mirror occasionally so that you can check your elbow position. I always notice that my right side can tend to be a little bit lower than my left. So if you ever have that capability, you could see how even things are side to side in an exercise like this. Reach up, we've got two more. Think about that shoulder rotator cuff, controlling the movement. Back down, last one, rotate, back up, reach, and back down. Very good. Alrighty, now we're going into a floor circuit. So make your way onto the ground if you have carpet or just a comfortable place. We're going to start lying on your side, propped up on your elbow. If that's uncomfortable, you could certainly make your way down to rest onto your shoulder, resting on your hand. But if you can have that elbow right underneath the shoulder, bent at the hips and knees bent back. Then from here, what we're going to do is a little hip mobility by lifting our top leg up, keeping the bend in the knee the same. I'm simply lifting this arm up or this leg up, back down, raising and back down. I'm thinking about using my glute to do that movement, controlling it and bringing it back down. Make sure with that shoulder you're not collapsing down into it, but stay nice and long. Lift up and down. Two more. Lift, down, lift, and down. Very good. Alrighty, then switch over onto your other side. Find that same position, elbow right under shoulder, bent at the hips, bent at the knee. And then when you're ready, lifting the whole leg, keeping that knee bent. Something to pay attention to is if when you lift that leg, does your foot kind of lag behind and stay low, or does your knee lag behind? But try just to keep it really level. Like if you had someone pulling with a string, they're just lifting that leg straight up and lowering down. Lift, lower, two more, lift, lower, last one, lift, and rest. Very good. Alrighty, for our second one, we're gonna go onto your front for some gentle cobra lifts. This is gonna really depend on your back and how things feel. So for starters, we're all gonna start with our thumbs right underneath or just outside of the shoulders. And then keeping your chin tucked, you're gonna raise up as far as is comfortable and then lower back down. Make sure you're not craning your neck up, but you're keeping it tucked as you lift, using the abs to help push away from the ground and back down. You can also use a little bit of the arms. Try to think about keeping your shoulders really open, doing the opposite of a hunchback position. Think about a really open chest and shoulder line. Lift up and down. 2 more. It's going to be really challenging because we're doing the opposite of the position we do most of the day. Last one, good, and down, and rest. Very nice. Alrighty, and our third one in this circuit is going to be some tail wags. And so for this one, going to be on your hands and knees with a flat back. And then just like its name, you're going to shift your hips towards the side and then the other side, like you're wagging a tail or like you're trying to do a little bit of a side crunch to shift the hips up towards each elbow. So shifting up and side to side. Again, stay within whatever range of motion feels comfortable for you, and try to make sure that your back doesn't slip into an arched position, but at least stays flat, or if you have to, be a little bit rounded in that position. One more each side. And rest. Very good. Alrighty, then we're going to repeat this circuit. So I'll give you a moment to get back into our side lying position. Elbow right underneath the shoulder. Make sure you're long with your neck and pushed out of that shoulder joint. Bent at the hips, also bent at the knee. And then when you're ready, lifting up that top leg and lowering it back down. Nice controlled speed. We have a little micro pause at the top, just enough to really control the movement. Make sure your core is a little engaged and you're not relaxing into the lower back. Lift up, lower down. Your foot and your knee should be lifting and lowering at the same rate and landing back down together. That's a good sign that they're both moving equally. Up. One more. Up and down. Perfect. All right, find your way to the other side. Find that same position. Elbow under shoulder, nice long neck, bent at the hip and knee. Take a breath. Let it out. And then when you're ready, lift and lower. Lift and lower. And I'm just lifting to a height where nothing else about my position changes. If you find you're really trying to lift your legs so high that your torso or shoulder position changes, we're shifting. That means you're shifting the mobility elsewhere. We just want to go to this top end range of motion for the hip and back down. Lift. Lower. We've got 2 more. Keep it controlled. Last one. Lift and lower. Very good. Alrighty. Second one is that cobra. So find your position, resting down on the floor with your hands just right in front or outside of the shoulders, thumbs right by your shoulder. Tuck the chin, and when you're ready, lift up and back down. Now, how far you lift is totally dependent on your mobility. Maybe you're lifting an inch or 2. That's totally okay. Maybe you're getting pretty high up here or even tempted to straighten your arms. Feel free, but only if that's something that you're familiar with from a yoga practice or if it feels really good. But for most of us, keep the elbows on the floor. We've got 2 more. Lift, lower, last one, lift, and lower. Very good. Alrighty, then back to that third one. On our hands and knees position, going into those tail wags. Even try just starting in a slightly rounded position to give your lower back a buffer. And when you're ready, do those little hip shifts. I'm trying not to move anything in my arms, elbows, shoulders. All of the movement is in the hip and that lower spine. If you notice you've kind of lost some of that rounded position, just find it again. That just helps avoid going into the arch. Might even feel a little bit of your core working to help do these little bends at the side. We've got 1 more for each side. And rest. Perfect. Alrighty. And then make your way back up to standing for our last circuit. We're going to go back to a shoulder and chest opener for our first one. And for this position, I'm going to have my hands just resting behind my back with my fingers overlapping. They're not interlocked, but they could be. And then I'm going to bring the shoulders forward, elbows forward, and then lift and squeeze them back. Letting the shoulders come forward, and then do the opposite, pulling them backward. Shoulders, elbows go forward a little, and pull them back. Shoulders forward, one of the few times we encourage that, and shoulders back. 1 more time. Shoulders forward, and pull them back. Wonderful. Alrighty, and then our second one is going to be a stepping lateral lunge. So if you're on a mat, move to one side of it, starting with your feet together. And then I'm going to take a moderate sized step, wider than shoulder width, sink a little bit into that leg, keeping the other one straight, and then push off and come back to the top. You don't have to take too big of a step, and kind of isolate each part of the movement. Step together, step out, sink down, and come back to the top. Step out, sink down, push back off to the top. 1 more for this side. Step, 1 leg stays straight, and push back to the top. Very good. Alrighty, other side. Find that position, feet together. Isolate each part of the movement, first stepping, then sinking down, then pushing back to where you started. Step, sink down, and push back to where you started. Step, reaching the hips back, the other leg stays straight, and push off. That's how we get a little adductor stretch, working that hip mobility in this one. And we've got 1 more for this side. Take your time, step, sink down, and push back to the top. Very good. Alrighty. And then our last one is going to be some standing butt kicks. So this is one that you might remember from gym class, but we're going to do it a little slower and just in place. So I'm just going to lift 1 heel and kick it towards my butt. This is one where all of it doesn't have to be super slow and controlled, but I'm taking my time one side to the other. You might notice this engages your hamstring. If you don't feel that as much, make sure that you're not letting your knees come forward, but just kicking one leg at a time. One more for each leg, and rest. Very good. Alrighty, we'll do these one more time for each, and then you'll be done. So going back to that hands behind your back position, elbows out, and then let the shoulders move forward just a little bit, and then really exaggerate, do the opposite. You can think of your elbows leading the movement, pulling back. The elbows come forward, pull back, and make sure that your shoulder blades are driving that movement with the elbows. They're squeezing together towards your spine and spreading apart. Squeezing towards the spine, spreading apart. 2 more times. Reach the elbows back. Good. Last one. Reach and rest. Good. Alrighty. Then our second one, back to that stepping lateral lunge. This one can take a little bit to get the pattern of, so if it feels a little bit tricky, that's okay. We've got another round to master it. Take a step out, sink down, and push off, come back to the top. Take a step. Imagine you're sitting in a chair that's just behind the leg that you step with. And sink down. Make sure you keep the other leg straight. Step. Sink into that hip. Push back off. Last one. Step. Sink down. And back to the top. Very good. All right, take a breath, and then we'll get the other side. Nice strong core. When you're ready, step. Sink down and back to the start. Step, sink down, other leg stays straight. Good. How far you sink down is totally up to you. It can even be just a little bit of shifting at the hips. That lateral movement is great for our hips, so even if it's just a little bit, it's still doing something. Last one. Step, sink, and push back to the top. Very good. Alrighty, and then it's our very last one of the day, returning to those butt kicks. Stay nice and tall. Think about keeping your feet behind you, and when you're ready, kick one leg and then the other, staying in place. One of the few quicker paced movements you get to do, but still, don't go too crazy, not turning it into a jog. Kicking one side and the other side. We'll do 4 more. Last 2. And rest. Very nice. Alrighty, well, I hope that you feel loosened up and ready for whatever you have planned the rest of your day. If you want more content from me, feel free to head over to Instagram at Hello Strength Seniors for more posts and ways to support these videos. And hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday for more morning mobility.